Hi, everyone. Good morning, and welcome to the First Time Storytelling broadcast. My guest today is Dave Taylor. Dave is a digital storyteller, a YouTuber, and tech expert who has been helping people understand tech since before the birth of the internet. He's been all over it. Dave is here to share the story of starting his first YouTube channel, which is an incredible channel. So this is awesome. We're getting the story of how he got started, but he got his start thanks to the Intel Corporation. So that's an interesting twist to that story. Welcome to the First Time Storytelling broadcast, Dave.
Well, thanks, Anne. It's good to be here, as they say. And it's a long way away because I'm on Mars.
He's all the coming to us all the way from Mars. Do you know why I had you select that as the background? Matches my hair and my my shirt.
No, I would not have thought of that.
That's why I didn't say anything at first. All right, and now really, my face as I'm turning red.
Yep, I should probably do deep ocean. That would work well with my shirt.
Yes. Okay, so let's get into this. Your first YouTube channel. How did Intel come into play in this, and why did you decide to start it?
Right. So I was invited to go to Chicago to speak at a conference, and this was, oh gosh, 12 years ago, something like that. I don't know, somewhere in the distant past, pre-COVID. And I spoke, and then I was part of a panel, and then there was a gal in the audience who I guess thought I had good things to say and a good way to phrase them. And so she actually came and reached out to me afterwards, and she said, well, I'm with Intel and we're launching a new website and we need some video content. Would you like to do some video and help us out? And I have this mistake that I not infrequently make in my business career, which is to be super honest. So instead of having the chutzpah to say, oh, heck yeah, I'm an expert, and then hang up the phone and say, oh, good Lord, I have to learn this, I just say, well, I don't really know much about it, but I could learn. And she said, good, let's do it. So we did it. And I think my first video was how to hook your PC up to your television via HDMI, which is a good subject. People still are trying to figure that out. And basically all the things that you shouldn't do, I did. So we had me sitting on the couch with a bright window behind me, so I looked like I was in the witness protection program. And when I used my camera at the time, I didn't know how to get stereo audio, so I only had left channel audio. So I edited as best I could, and they were all like, hey, this is fine, let's just publish it. And I'm like, okay. And it's a 1 million subscriber Intel channel. And we published it. And then there's all these comments from people saying, what's wrong with the audio? It's just like only the left channel. So we had this internal discussion, and we just decided we were going to just like play dumb. So I would just leave comments saying, I don't know, we're trying to figure that out, as opposed to, I didn't know how to do it.
I didn't bother redoing the video.
Right. So those first couple of videos were pretty iffy, and you just learn by doing. And this is something that, you know, I tell my kids all the time, which is just get started. And it's okay. Like, you know, if you're writing the novel, maybe you throw your first novel away and you just start, and the second one starts to be good. And that's okay. So I've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos, and I still make mistakes, but that's just how it goes. And sometimes you just say, well, I'm just going to have to roll with it. I don't like touching my face, but I did just rub my mustache just like 3 minutes ago on this Zoom call. I don't think we need to start over. But next time I'm going to try to do better. And really, that's sort of the concept, is get started and then just keep learning and keep learning, you know, sort of being critical of yourself, supportively critical. So it's not like you suck, stop, but more like, well, you know, that's something you could have done differently. Like, really, did you need to be on Mars? Did that really add to the talk? Did that really make the presentation better? In this case, yes, it did. But generally speaking, you know, the questions, I always look at things like, when I'm doing video, how do I start telling the story before I open my mouth, right? So what clothes am I wearing? What set am I on? What background do I have? What music do I have in the background if I'm using that? So I think that asking, you know, the whole question of how to show something instead of tell something, and how to really get people excited, you know, and that becomes really important for that whole storytelling aspect.
Absolutely, fully agree with that. It's worth doing for the experience, and then the experience transitions over into learning, and then you keep doing it, and then you can reach that expertise level. But it's a process. Nobody wakes up someday and I'm a YouTube star and expert. They go through the process of going through it. Now, so those first videos ended up on the Intel channel, but you eventually started your own YouTube
Right. So
channel. So where did the transition take place?
right. So let's see. So I've been publishing tech Q&A and reviews online for 20 years, something like that. It's a really super long time. And somewhere along the way, I realized that I'm writing about things with photographs that would be better to show, to do a video of how to reassemble a headphone or something like that, rather than just have like step-by-step photos. And so I started doing video content on my website, askdavetaylor.com. Check it out today.
Good plug.
Um, and then it was just like, I should just do stuff on YouTube because it's such an up and coming platform at the time. Um, and I just started publishing video content, and it was a little more unfocused when I started. But as I started doing video reviews, I started to get a lot of companies reaching out saying, "Can we send you our stuff and then you can review it?" And I'm like, "Sure, that sounds fun. Send me gear and I'll give it a look. And I'm going to be honest, if your stuff stinks, I'm going to say so. But if you're willing to roll the dice, then I'm willing to do it." And it just sort of took off from there. And now I could, if I picked up the computer and moved it to the other room, I could show you I have 25 or 30 different devices and gadgets that are in my queue that are just sitting there ready for me to review, that range from like $11 gadgets to $600 or $700 really fancy pieces of electronics. And it's become a significant part of my overall business, and it's just been practice, practice, practice. The old joke about how to get to Carnegie Hall.
Yeah, which so I'm trying to wrap my head around that because I'm thinking about it, and like I said, I looked over your YouTube channel, and there are so many videos there. And while you're a tech guy and you're being sent all this stuff, you still have to learn how to use whatever they're sending you. So what's the
Yeah.
craziest thing you were sent and you're like, I don't know what the heck this even does?
Well, I definitely get some stuff where I then reach back out. There's a lot of times I'll get prototypes, or I will get things that probably shouldn't have shipped, but they've shipped, but they can't understand why they're not selling anything.
Are you getting
So
shocked by
they're
it?
hoping I can help. And I'll like turn it on, and it's just like, well, these headphones are interesting, but there's nothing coming out of the left ear. Things like that. And so probably 5 to 10% of the product ends up just with being a dialogue between me and the company. And sometimes it's just like, seriously, I'm not going to review this. It's not ready to ship. I'm happy to send it back, or I'll just recycle it. But this is as far as we can go down this road. But I've reviewed a lot of cool stuff, all the way from bean bags to electric guitars to what else? Air purifiers. We have so many air purifiers in my house. It's basically like ICU at the hospital because I just let all of them run. I mean, why not, right? Have really, really good air quality. So lots and lots of gear. So it's good fun. I have so many earbuds and headphones that when my friends come over, when that's appropriate, then I often like just say, "Here, you're taking this, take it home and enjoy it." And so my kids' friends love coming over because they get stuff. It's like, you
Ah,
know,
but
gift bag.
that's just so cool though, because it is that exposure to all that new stuff and having those first times and then getting to share it on your YouTube channel.
Right.
Now,
And
what oh, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, and I was just gonna say one more thing is that, as you spend more time with a product category, you also get more expertise. So I know a lot about headphones and a lot about earbuds and a lot about like what makes a phone case good or bad or what to look for and stuff. So, you might think, well, that pair of headphones that you're wearing, how would I review that? But in fact, I have a set of criterion that I look for in headphones, and I can just pretty much listen for maybe just a couple of hours, even just try a couple of different kinds of music and then jump in and do the review, because at that point I'm already really pretty familiar with not just the category but the strengths and weaknesses of that product.
Wow, and I love it because it is the exposure to so many different things.
Hmm.
makes you better, gives you a better opinion, a greater understanding of what it is, and to have that experience through developing a YouTube channel. I mean, I know there's a lot of people that are trying to now replicate that and do very similar things. So let's talk a little bit more. In a way, you had the benefit of being in the field when it was not so crowded, but at the same
Mm.
time, it was also not as popular. So there, when you go into your crowded platform, the audience is already there, but now you have to compete a little bit more for the attention. So what was your growth progression as far as your YouTube channels and the things that you learn about operating the channel itself?
Right. So I'm a big believer in iterative improvement. So I have gone to meetups, I have done live events, I've, attended webinars about like how to do YouTube. I've read books about how to set up your YouTube channel, all that sort of thing. And mostly I really mimic a lot of stuff. So I look at who's doing well and then I steal the best ideas, and I've met some really huge YouTubers and I'm like, I am not that person. I'm not going to be dancing around and being kind of a jerk or something. I understand that that gets you millions of views and yeah, you're making good money, which is awesome. And I love that these people have these audiences. That's not my personality and I don't want to be that person. So there are some people that are like, your videos are way too long. They should be like 90 seconds maximum. It's like, that's not what I do, and it's okay because I still have millions of views on my videos that are 10 minutes long talking about a pair of headphones. But if you're about to drop $400 on headphones, you'll spend 10 minutes learning what's good and bad about them. It's not unreasonable. But generally speaking, it was kind of slow, but it's been a fairly even growth. And I have to say, in the last few months, my growth rate, everything's gone up significantly. So I'm picking up about 600 subscribers a month now, which I'm really happy with. I'd love to hit 1,000 a month, and I'm on my way. And a lot of it is patience, because there have also been months where it's a little bit of a downtick, and then you're just like, well, what am I doing differently? And maybe it's nothing you're doing. Maybe just, there's something super compelling on TV, like Stranger Things came out on Netflix, and everyone's skipping YouTube and watching Stranger Things. So stick it out. And I think that anyone who promises that you can get really great results really quickly is probably lying to you, because all of these things, and this yourself, Anne, these are long games. It's your very first podcast, your very first vlog, your very first YouTube post isn't going to get you millions of views. Just keep at it, get better at your craft, and have the patience to really do something. And maybe in 3 months or 4 months you'll start to see an uptick, and pretty soon, hopefully, that uptick will continue and it just sort of then becomes exponential, hopefully.
I love it. Two great, amazing things that you said. One is get started, and two, slow and steady wins the race, or at least keeps you in the race. And yes, go to your channel and see. I mean, there's so many videos and it's well done, it's well presented. And to know, hearing it directly from you, it was a process, and I learned as I went, and I went looking. So your channel is a great one to look at and
Thank you.
say, okay, I should be doing this. And it's one of the things, as a podcaster, that I constantly have to remind myself as I'm growing my podcast. It is slow and steady, and you can't do everything that those that have been doing it for years are doing. So I can't go to your YouTube channel and think I can replicate all of that on mine overnight. It's just way too much stress and pressure to try and do it that way. But what can I steal from Dave that
Right.
works?
Right. Well, and it's also, the whole idea of make sure you stay true to yourself. And I think that this is something where like people have a hard time understanding when an actor plays a bad guy or a villain, then people meet the actor and they don't like them. And it's just like, you understand that that was a role they were playing. They're not actually an evil, mean person, probably. They're just someone who puts on that skin because that's their job. But in the world of like YouTube and podcasting and stuff, I think it's so much easier to be pretty much the way you are in person, maybe a little bit more something. So maybe I'm a little bit more amped up when I'm on the video because I'm also trying to be an entertainer. I'm also trying to have you say, well, I'll stick with it, even though you've been talking about headphones for 4 damn minutes. That's a long time in my life. I can't imagine why that's such a big deal, but, be animated, be a little bit more as if you're on stage. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, trying to be someone else ends up being absolutely exhausting. You're right. It ends up being this like huge mental load. It's like, what would Dave do? How would Dave present this?
Yeah.
Even I don't do that.
Now, also, you're kind of blessed in that you knew tech is what introduced you to the video, and you stuck with tech.
Mhm.
However, for some people, it might switch. Finding your proper niche might be a process as well. Has your journey since your first few videos, have you tweaked your style? I'm talking a little bit more about trying to be true to yourself, but how have you tweaked your style and improved your content and your delivery to make it more you and more what your audience is looking for, and balancing the two, right? I
Yeah.
think that's another thing. If all you're doing is pleasing your audience, at some point you're going to drop out because it's not pleasing you.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to think I'm improving. um, I think there's just more of a sense of consistency is what I have, because I have sort of in my head a little bit of a formula now. So every so often I'll live stream when I'm recording a video and just, put that out there on Facebook or something. And it's really fun. I like watching it because I don't really, because I'm so focused on what I'm doing, I'm not really sort of looking at the bigger picture. So it's kind of fun to look at how I have this sort of routine where if I have a product, let's say I'm doing this, then I will start with a like 3-second teaser, like brand new iPhone, you need a new phone screen. Let's check it out. Something like that. And then I have my bumpers, and then I come in and I introduce myself, and then I always end by see you in my next video. And a lot of that has just evolved over time as I'm trying to create a sort of brand identity, as opposed to like, oh, we don't know what your video is going to be like. Everyone's totally different to everything else. And I think that ends up being where it's hard for people to subscribe, and it's hard for people to want to stick with it, but I have the formula. And I don't know if people don't like it, tell me. I'd love to hear about it. But generally speaking, it makes it easier actually for me to go. And just like for you, you have your like set of questions at the end, you have your standard intro that you do on these. And that just means you can focus more on the sort of meat of it rather than worrying about, oh no, did I clean my office? What's on the whiteboard? All this sort of stuff. You just get going.
Yeah, I'm waiting for somebody. I'm waiting for somebody to call me out and say, when I started watching a few months ago, your whiteboard is not changing. There's a
Yeah,
reason
I'm
why.
curious what's on your whiteboard now that you mention it.
It's about your journey of first time and your experiences, what all the benefits are. So it's not my to do. I have a different whiteboard that has my to do, but it's a
So
quick.
it's a
Of
so
course,
it's
I
a
should. I
prompt.
should. Yeah. Well, no, it's something that I should go by heart, and I do. It's one
Mhm.
of the exposure, exposure, exposure. Right.
Yeah,
Your talking
yeah,
points, your key things. So having them visually, so I can keep looking at them and I was discussing this with someone before, and when you're a content creator, it's really weird because you come up with the content and then you have to relook at it to remember it, and you're like, I came up with it, I should know it. But it's
yeah.
just,
I'm sure it's like really popular book authors where they go back and read their first book and they're like, who the heck wrote this? Oh,
yeah,
I did. I
I
don't know.
did. It's a really weird thing to be going
Yeah.
through. Now, what about nerves? So let's go back to that first video you recorded. How nervous were you? And now just how easy is it?
Now, see, I think the real benefit that I had was I've done a ton of public speaking. I have moderated conferences. I have introduced really, really big profile speakers like Mark Cuban. I've really spent a ton of time on stage. I've taught 400 people for full day workshops, and all of that. You sort of get through it, and you realize that just like writer's block, nerves can be something that you can just address and just say, I'm good at my craft. And even if I mess up, the audience is on my side, and I can take a deep breath and laugh and say, let's start that sentence over, and everyone's fine.
Mm.
And so I think that when I got into video, I had the advantage of already doing a lot of presentation. The only thing about video that I found a little daunting, and I still find occasionally challenging, is that you're then editing yourself. And I spend more time looking at my own face in video editors than I've ever done in my whole life, which can make you feel a little self-conscious, where it's just like, dude, what is going on behind my, and it's just like, you just got to get over that.
Yeah. So you still edit your own videos then?
Yeah, I love it. Actually,
Do it
that's my
all.
favorite part of it, is actually the editing, because I feel like that's really a lot of the creative process. And I try to have fun with the edits. So I'll have like products dissolve out of pictures. If I was to use something like with a Mars theme, I might have like something just show up, because I know how to do all those sort of effects. And if you don't know how to do something like that, look for it on YouTube, and someone will have posted a tutorial, and it'll be easier than you think it is.
Ah, yeah. I need to go back to video editing. It's been on my to-do list a little too long, because I was using one program and I don't like it anymore. I have to learn another
Yeah.
program, but
Mhm.
yeah, because that's one of the things I love the most doing, because it is such a creative and fun process. But just like listening to your voice and seeing your own face over and over again, it does get a little weird.
Yeah, I just I just sort of gloss over that, where there was one, what was it? Where I did a video and my voice was cracking at certain points. And I'm like, I am not 16 years old. What the hell? But it's like, you know what? I'm not going to re-record it. So whatever. And hundreds of people have watched it. No one's commented.
Yeah,
So even how hostile people are on YouTube, I figured that's good.
you do have a great voice.
Thank you.
Sometimes the internet will be slow and I'm recording and I don't realize it, but then I'll listen to it and it sounds like it's my voice is so much deeper and weird. I'm like, who cares?
Yeah. Well, and again, so sort of the bigger concept here is that the more selfless you can be, the more egoless you can be, the better you can be at doing any of this sort of storytelling. I mean, if you want to sit in the library in front of a bunch of 10 4-year-olds, then the more you're worried about, well, what do they think of my hair? And, does that little girl really like my hat? And do I have, like, is there something on my nose? You can just get lost in that. And then you end up not being very good. And then, of course, then becomes self-reinforcing. So just like with writers, learn to let go of your ego, because the goal is to produce good content for other people. And if you're going to really obsess and you're going to like try different makeup every single time you do a video, then that will become the point of what you're doing, and you will lose the thread of what you're actually trying to convey. And I mean, if that's your journey, that's your journey, but it's really helpful to try not to do that.
Yeah, exactly. I like that it can be silly and foolish, and people get to know that, hey, that's me, and I like to laugh. I like in my
Yeah.
interviews, just like
I
you.
am, I am
And
never silly or foolish. Never.
so now you mentioned you would like to get to 1,000 subscribers, and what's your vision for the years to come for your channel?
I don't know. I just have fun. I mean, honestly, I find it rather marvelous that I'm actually making some ad revenue and I get all this cool gear and everything, because I just enjoy it. I enjoy, I mean, man, my FedEx and UPS and DHL delivery people, they know my house. And if I like go out for the day, I'll come back and there'll be like 7 boxes on the porch. I probably shouldn't say that for you porch pirates watching this, but I have like extremely good security, lasers, vicious dogs sleeping on my front porch. Give it a try. Come on, I'm telling you, try it.
Yeah.
But I think that one of the things I learned when I quit my sort of corporate world and just started doing my own entrepreneurial thing, which was a long time ago, is I would rather earn less and have fun than maximize my revenue and not enjoy what I'm doing. And so, people ask like, well, what would you do when you retire? And it's just like pretty much what I do now. I mean, this is probably 80% super fun, 20% tedious, which is about as good as life gets, I think.
Oh man, that's excellent. That's great. You can't ask for anything better. You have dropped some great wisdom on this interview, and I hope everyone is enjoying it and benefiting from it. Are you ready to transfer over and play the first time lightning round?
Go.
Go. Okay, so the way it works is I'm going to give you some first time options. If it's something you've done before, if you were on the app, you would do up. So you say up, I've done it before. If it's something you've never done, not interested, or you go left. And if something that you've never done, would like to do, then we go right and it would get added to your list.
But is it my left or your left or the viewer's left? So if I
A
do
left.
this, am I going right or left?
You say you're going left, you're going left.
Okay,
Okay.
try to remember. So wait, let's review. So if it's something I have done, up. If it's something I haven't done but would like to do, then left.
Right.
If it's
Would
something,
like to do, it's right.
okay, so if I would like to do it, I'm going to go that way. If
Yep.
I wouldn't like to do it, I'm going to go that way. And if I have nothing to say about it, then I'll just pull my hands out of the screen.
I would
That's
be
just like, move on, next
I would
one.
be shocked and surprised. Oh no, I'm getting an answer.
Oh, we're going to stick out for the answer. All right, well, I can always just go back to my biodome here in Mars. So just
Okay. Very well. All right. First one. Perform at an open mic event.
yeah, I think I've basically done that kind of thing.
You have done that. Okay. Collect bugs.
No.
Never done it, not interested. Not a bug collector. Okay. Go to a spa.
Yes, definitely. Many
Yeah,
times.
you have done that. Do you remember your first spa visit?
Well, could be when I was in my 20s because a group of us used to meet at UC Berkeley, and we had this whole sort of like super nerdy club where we'd all meet. It was called Kabuki West, and we would all meet at this Chinese restaurant, and they basically kept giving us pot stickers till we all were sick, and then we would all go hot tubbing. And it was super fun. I really enjoyed the heck out of it. And it was a bunch of super interesting people that have gone on to have really remarkable careers. Can't name anyone, sorry.
Okay, awesome. Great story. Play hockey.
Street hockey, does that count?
Hockey stick, goal, score. Okay. Ride a scooter.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yep. First scooter ride.
I've had some pretty serious scooter wipeouts, and I've also done on TV demos for Razor for their electric scooters.
Oh, I have to go back and you have those on the YouTube channel?
I don't think it's on my channel, but Channel 9 Denver, I don't know how much they archive.
Yeah. Okay. Volunteer in a retirement home.
I've gone to a retirement home as part of a choir and sung to perform and entertain them. Does that count as volunteer?
That absolutely does count. So you're in the choir.
I was in an adult choir, yes.
Oh, fabulous. Favorite performance, a song to perform with the choir?
I love gospel music for singing. There's like such rich bass parts. It's just super fun.
Yeah. Oh, and also it's very moving music.
Yeah.
Okay. Own a fish tank.
Done that. Been there, done that. Eat the sushi.
Okay. Wow. You know what? I've never talked to somebody who
I didn't
breed. Do you breed fish? You don't. Do you?
No, I didn't
raise
eat my
fish.
That would be alarming.
Yeah, it would be. But what is the expression? Do you breed fish, raise fish?
Breed, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. That would be a little weird, but hey.
Yeah. Farmers eat their own their own cows and sheep. Probably not horses. Depends how tough things get.
Maybe we shouldn't be laughing at that. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Moving on. Go to an open air museum.
An open air museum.
It's kind of a pop-up museum.
Does a sculpture garden at a museum count as an open air museum? Yeah, it does. So yeah, sure.
I was going to mention.
Going to go on record as the most entertaining.
I was gonna mention that earlier in when you said something, you asked a question and you answered it, and it's I love that concept of ask and answered. I answered my question and I'm moving on. Okay, do calligraphy. I've done that. Line dance.
Line dance. A little bit when I was a teenager, when disco was a thing. Yeah, I'm like 97 years old, but yeah.
Done that? All right, excellent. Okay, so next question is today's first time story prompt. And the prompt is first time you were scammed.
Am I allowed to reference old girlfriends?
We won't. won't know. We don't know who it is.
Ah, I don't know. I'm a pretty skeptical, jaded person, and I have always been skeptical. So I don't know that I've been scammed a whole lot, but I've definitely seen friends get scammed by things. So I'm the show me that it works before I'm going to even buy into it sort of guy.
Okay. Fair enough, based on what your
So
YouTube
let's do
channel
that.
is and what you do.
Yep.
So, first time I was scammed was in New Orleans. I think it was my first time in New Orleans for my first conference. There's a lot of firsts going on.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you've been in New Orleans, but there, you have scam artists on the street.
Yeah, it's chaos.
One of them came up and they talk to you really fast. I mean, that's part of it. They disorient you. They talk to you really fast. And I
Yeah.
think the scam, they ask the question, I bet you I can tell you where you got those shoes. And it's enough of a question, you get confused, you get intrigued. And I
Yeah.
guess I don't remember saying yes. I remember but I gave enough of a nod for him to deliver the punchline, which I think it's like right here, like the street that you're on or whatever, or they're on your feet, or it's some stupid punchline. And of course he's like, well, I answered your question. I told you owe me this much money, and I did not want to pay. But then there's a part of me, every time that I've traveled and I've been scammed, I'm like, I am going to pay because I need to learn. So, some lessons should cost you. And it's one of those. So
Your dog is jumping behind you. Look, quick. Ha ha. I owe me $20.
like, I don't think I heard him move, but sometimes he will do walk back and forth.
Licking the window.
Yeah, window lickers.
But yeah, you owe me $20. We'll talk later.
I'll go ahead and PayPal that over to you. So yeah, so that was my first time getting scammed. All right, so last question is, how have you been making the best out of the current pandemic situation?
Um, hmm. Well, I'm enjoying more family time because my kids are older and they are college age, and they have been living with me for the most part straight through the last couple of months. And that's been nice, actually. It's been nice for us to sort of do things together. Doing a lot in my house, as many people are. It's like DIY heaven. And other than that, I've really tried to just sort of stay structured and stay focused on my work. I'm one of the few people, I think, on Facebook that doesn't post about the coronavirus. There's plenty of people doing that, so I don't feel like I need to. But generally, I feel like one of the best ways to get through a challenging situation is to sometimes pretend, might not be the right word, but to pretend that everything's normal, or try to keep things as normal as possible. So, that's, I guess, what I'm doing. And it seems to be working pretty well because everything's on the uptick.
Oh, awesome. That's very good to hear. Very happy for you. And thank you for coming on the First Time Storytelling broadcast and sharing your first time story and all that great knowledge and wisdom.
All right, great. Well, it looks like I'm running a little low on air, so I'm going to have to go back into my habitat. So I will see you in your next interview, our next interview.
Yes. Thank you.